This poor village woman returned a rich man's lost money, and 3 months later, the entire village was left speechless. Friends, today's story begins in a small village in Andhra Pradesh. In this village lived a poor but self-respecting family. Srinivas had 4 daughters and only one son, Mahesh. Mahesh was the pillar of the family. Mahesh was married to Radha, and they had a little son. The entire family depended on Mahesh's earnings. Srinivas was old and bedridden because of asthma. Day and night, Mahesh worked as a daily wage laborer to feed his family. Many times, Mahesh slept hungry so that his family could eat. One day, while returning home from the city on his bicycle, tragedy struck. A terrible accident took Mahesh's life instantly. The news shattered the family. Their only support was gone forever. Asha felt as though her entire world had collapsed. The family was so poor that they could not even afford the funeral expenses. The villagers stepped forward to help. After the funeral, the family was left helpless and uncertain about the future. Days passed. Poverty tightened its grip on the household. Seeing the young age of her daughter-in-law, Srinivas's wife became worried. Radha was only 23 years old. "Asha, our son has left us forever. We are old and may not live much longer. Please marry again and start a new life. We have only one request. Leave our grandson with us. He is the only descendant of our family. We will raise him as long as we live. After we are gone, he will be the one to perform our last rites." Hearing these words of mother-in-law, Asha felt her heart beat faster. She immediately stopped them and ran away, and she hugged her baby in that cradle with her chest. Then, with tears in her eyes, Radha said, "Mother, father, what are you saying? How can I leave all of you in such difficult times? I did not come to this house only as a daughter-in-law. I came here as a daughter. This family is my family. Your pain is my pain. I will stay with you and take care of all of you for the rest of my life." Hearing her words, Rajgopal and his wife broke down in tears. At that moment, they realized that although they had lost a son, they had gained a daughter whose heart was filled with love, sacrifice, and devotion. Sometimes relationships are not built by blood, but by love, loyalty, and the willingness to stand by each other in the darkest moments of life. Srinivas' couple were amazed by her qualities. From then on, Radha took charge of the house. Although she was not originally educated, she had immense knowledge and understanding. The very next day, with the help of the villagers, she got a job in a clothing store in neighbor town. She had to work 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. She was paid 7,000 rupees per month. As soon as she received her salary, she handed every rupee to her mother-in-law. There were still 4 unmarried daughters in the family, and feeding 7 people with such a small income was not easy. Yet, Radha never complained. Even on Sundays, when others rested, she looked for additional work in the village. She accepted every small job she could find to earn a few extra rupees. In this way, an entire year passed. "Daughter," he said, "your income alone is not enough to support this family. We also need money for your sister's marriages. Let us send 2 of the girls to work somewhere. Then your burden will become lighter." But Asha immediately refused. "No, father," she replied firmly. "This world is not as good as it appears. I am married and have seen the realities of society. I have the strength to face difficulties, but my sisters are still innocent. It is not safe to send them out to work. If someone casts an evil eye on them, our family's honor will be destroyed. As long as I am alive, I will never allow that to happen. I will work harder myself if necessary." Radha knew the cruel side of society very well. After becoming a widow, she had experienced it firsthand. Many people looked at a woman without a husband with selfish intentions. Even at the clothing store where she worked, there were men who tried to take advantage of her situation. Some spoke to her inappropriately, while others attempted to lure her with promises of money and comfort. Ironically, even the owner of the clothing store where Radha worked had evil intentions toward her. He wanted to take advantage of her poverty and helplessness. For Radha, her self-respect was worth more than any amount of money. Without hesitation, she resigned from her job and returned home. The moment she entered the house, she placed her head in her mother-in-law's lap and broke down in tears. Through her sobs, she told the family everything that had happened. "Mother," she cried, "why is this society so cruel? Don't poor people have the right to live with dignity? Does a woman lose all her value when she loses her husband?" After thinking for many days, Radha made an important decision. "I will never work under someone like that again," she said. "From now on, I will become the owner of my own work." Using the small amount of money she had managed to save, Radha bought 3 goats. After her parents' death, she had no one left in her own village. The doors of her childhood home had closed forever. Now her in-laws' house was her only home, and their happiness had become her life's purpose. Every morning, Radha would take the goats to the deserted hills outside the village. She spent entire days grazing them under the scorching sun and during heavy rains. She worked tirelessly without complaining. Months turned into years. Through her hard work and determination, the number of goats slowly increased. But despite her efforts, poverty still refused to leave the family completely. One afternoon, Radha was sitting beneath a tree while watching her goats graze peacefully nearby. Suddenly, a luxurious car stopped on the road not far from her. A tall and handsome man, around 35 years old, stepped out of the vehicle. Dressed in expensive clothes and carrying a camera, he looked more like a prince than an ordinary traveler. Rakesh began taking photographs of the beautiful hills and the goats grazing across the fields. From a distance, Radha noticed him. Her heart skipped a beat. "What if he is a thief?" she thought nervously. Rakesh stood still for a moment. Despite her torn sari and weathered face, there was a unique radiance about Radha that caught his attention. She seemed completely different from anyone he had ever met. For a few seconds, he did not know what to say. Finally, he smiled and asked softly, "Are these goats yours?" "Yes," Radha replied in a firm voice. "Then would you mind taking a picture of me with them?" he asked, handing her his expensive phone. Without saying much, Radha took the phone and clicked a few photographs. Rakesh tried to start a conversation, but she remained distant and quiet. She was uncomfortable speaking to a stranger. As Rakesh was leaving, Radha noticed that a 500 rupee note had slipped from his pocket. She immediately picked it up and ran toward his car. "Sir, your money has fallen," she said, handing it back to him. Rakesh smiled and said, "Keep it. You look poor. It might be useful to you." But Radha immediately shook her head. "No, sir. I do not live on someone else's money. The money I earn through my hard work is enough for me. Please, keep your money." For a moment, Rakesh was stunned. In a world where many people chased money, this poor woman refused free help simply because of her self-respect. Her honesty, pride, and courage impressed him deeply. He left that day, but his thoughts remained occupied with Radha. The next day, when Rakesh came back at the same time, Radha was annoyed that he had not come back. This time, Radha had brought her 3-year-old son with her. When he found that she was married and had a child, he thought that he could be quite... When Rakesh saw the child, he felt slightly disappointed, assuming she must be happily married. However, he tried not to show it. Pointing toward the little boy, he asked, "Who is this?" "My son," Radha replied. Rakesh smiled at the child and then casually asked, "And where is his father? Doesn't he come to help you with the goats?" The moment he asked the question, Radha's eyes filled with tears. Looking toward the sky, she quietly said, "He has gone to God's feet." Hearing those words, Rakesh fell silent. As the days passed, Rakesh began visiting the hills regularly. Sometimes he brought toys for Radha's son. Sometimes he simply sat nearby and talked. But Radha did not like these visits. She knew how quickly people in a village could spread rumors. More than anything, she feared losing the respect she had worked so hard to protect. "Listen, sir," she said firmly. "You belong to a rich and respected family. Stay in your world and let me stay in mine. We are poor people. Our honor is the only wealth we have. If villagers keep seeing you here, they will create unnecessary stories and damage my reputation. Please, do not come here anymore." Her words were respectful but firm. Rakesh looked at her for a few moments. Without arguing or explaining himself, he quietly turned around and left. At least now, she thought, the matter is over. But fate had other plans. The very next morning, an unexpected incident occurred, one that would change the lives of Radha, her family, and Rakesh forever. The very next morning, an unexpected incident took place. The same luxury car that Radha had seen near the hills was parked in front of her house. When Radha stepped outside and saw it, her heart began to race. Before she could understand what was happening, Rakesh got out of the car and respectfully greeted Srinivas and his wife. Radha immediately became angry. "Even after I clearly told you not to come near me, you have come to my house?" she said sharply. "Why are you here?" Rakesh remained calm and did not respond. Srinivas raised his hand and said, "Daughter, be quiet for a moment. Let us first hear what he has to say." Reluctantly, Radha stepped aside. "I am originally from Mumbai," he said. "I own a business there. By God's grace, I have wealth, property, and a successful business. People think I have everything a man could want." He paused for a moment. "But the truth is very different." Everyone listened silently. "He came to Andhra Pradesh for his friend's wedding. There I see a dark story in his life too. Rakesh had been married before, but his wife was a money giver. She had only married Rakesh out of desires of Rakesh's property. Not only that, she had conspired with her lover to murder Rakesh and his parents. By the grace of God, they survived finally. She divorced him after paying her 50 lakh rupees. Since then, Rakesh had lost faith in girls. Rakesh was in tears. He holded Srinivas's hand and told Appaji and said, "I don't want a beautiful woman who wants money. Radha had an honest and self-respect have won my heart. I will treat her child like my own son. I will make him the heir of my property. Please give me Radha to me in marriage and treat her like a queen." Srinivas and his wife did not know what to say when Millionaire come and asked him to marry his widowed daughter-in-law. They could not tell if this was a dream or reality. Later, they spoke to Rakesh's parents on the phone. Rakesh's parents, also happy, agreed after hearing about Radha's. Now, the decision was in Radha's hand. The mother-in-law came to Radha and she begged her daughter, "It is you married to get such a relationship. God has sent him to you. Your life will definitely be good. Think about the future of that child." She had Radha thought for a long time, looked at her child's face. Radha came near Rakesh and stood there. She said that "I am ready to marry you, but I have one condition. This marriage will take the place only if you fulfill it." Rakesh said, "What do you say, Radha? I am ready to do anything for you." Radha pointed at her mother-in-law and sister-in-law and said, "They are not my mother-in-law, just like my parents. If you are going to marry me, you must take the responsibility of them." You must accept them as your own. Only then I will marry you." Rakesh smiled and agreed Radha's words. "This selfless quality of yours is what I like. From now on, these are not only your parents, but also my parents. This is our responsibility for yours. Sister-in-law's marriage, don't worry about anything." Then, in the presence of the village, they went to the nearest temple. Radha and Rakesh got married in the temple in very simple manner. Rakesh, who kept his words, built a new house for his mother-in-law and Radha's sister-in-law's education and marriage purpose. He kept some money for in bank. Radha, unwilling to leave her mother-in-law behind, cried like a child while going to Mumbai. Rakesh concluded her and said, "Let us come here every month and take a good care of them." Then after 3 months, Radha and Rakesh returned to the village. Now Radha's appearance had changed. She was wearing very expensive gold and silk sari, very adorned like Mahalakshmi. Radha got out of the car and ran and bowed down to her mother-in-law's feet. Seeing this quality of her daughter-in-law, tears of joy filled the eyes of the poor couple. The family, which was a struggle to afford even the meals, is now enjoying royal feast. The reason for this? Radha's self-respect and honesty. Friends, difficulties can never defeat a person who refuses to give up. Radha's life is proof that no matter how cruel fate may seem, if you hold on to patience, honesty, and self-respect, success will eventually find its way to you. The lesson from Radha's story is simple. Never give up during difficult times. Keep faith in yourself, work hard, and stay true to your principles. One day, your struggles will turn into your greatest strength. If you think Radha made the right decision and admire her courage, please give her your likes and comment. If you enjoyed this inspiring and motivational story, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming stories. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next story.